$67 million. That's how much Tyler Junior College officials are asking voters to approve in an upcoming bond election. Good evening and thank you for joining us.
They say several campus facilities are in desperate need of replacement as the school has grown. KLTV7's JD Connie has more on those plans for the bond and the impact it could have on taxpayers.
Tyler Junior College is celebrating 100 years.
They were bold and courageous leaders throughout its history that made a mark by doing what took bold and courageous decisions.
Dr. Juan Mejia is the president of TJC. School leaders are asking voters to approve $167 million worth of bonds. That's broken down into 3 separate projects. First, a combined IT and police building. Campus police currently occupy 2 former homes. Mejia says their IT building is overcrowded. Their server room has leaking problems. School leaders want to build a new student success center and a new academic and workforce building. Mejia says the Pirtle building is aging out, which hosts much of that programming.
We've gone through the must, shoulds, and nice tos. The nice tos, shoulds have been placed away. These are the musts and essentials.
You need to know why you would or would not vote for this tax to be put on your taxes that are going to hit you monthly.
Randy Reeves is one voter who isn't quite convinced.
I have a granddaughter who's turning 2 years old today. She will be paying for this.
TJC's taxing district includes most of Smith County and parts of Van Zandt County. For a home valued at $252,000, the bond would add about $7 a month in taxes, or $84 annually. Reeves isn't necessarily opposed to the projects themselves, just the price tag and the timing.
Overall expenses in Smith County have been increased by about 25%. Average income has only been increased by 8%.
TJC leaders say the bond is an investment in the community, especially as the school and their workforce programs grow.
The better educated workforce is going to do tremendous assets, if you will, for the community, not just in terms of jobs, but in terms of the income and the purchases that they're going to make.
JD Conti, KLTV7 News.
Election day is May 2nd. Early voting runs April 20th through the 28th.